can you put an offer in on a home before you sell your home? I'm gonna answer that question and show you some examples. My name is Brian Tessier, and this is Road to Closed Quick Hacks. Okay, so can you put an offer in a home before yours is sold? Absolutely, sure. A couple of scenarios where if you didn't move forward, you could use a contingency to get out of the deal for whatever reason. You might lose some money there, and you could also could forfeit your hand money if you're too far into the deal and the contingencies have passed, and you, for whatever reason, want to keep your home. And it depends on why you want to buy a home before you're selling your home, put an offer in it. This happens a lot. I mean, this happens a lot. Sometimes people are just moving up, right? They're staying in the same zip code, but they just want to move up. They don't want to be homeless. That's a big term I hear, but there's a lot of solutions to that. There is short-term living nowadays. Sometimes hotels give you a discounted rate if you stay 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Airbnb will give you sometimes a discounted rate if you're staying there long-term. Sometimes depends if it's a company you're relocating for, they could all help offset that as well. But certainly, so you can have your home getting ready to sell it, and tenured real estate agents go through this all the time. Getting your home ready to sell, you found the home you like, but you want to make sure you get it, and most people want to get through inspections before they either put their home on the market or actually accept an offer. There's a couple different options there. As I mentioned, you can wait to even put your home on the market. Now, why would you do that? Well, it depends on how hot the market is, and I talk about this in all my videos nowadays. We just came out of the unicorn market cycle, which was you could put your home on the market with busted up baseboards, no roof, and you have 50 offers, 100,000 over ask, right? No inspection contingency, etc. Well, if that's the case, yeah, then you know what? You hold off even listing your home until you get an offer in and accepted on a new one, right? Because the market might be super hot for a seller and you might be getting beat out as a buyer, right? So then you know, okay, I put an offer in a multiple offer situation, I lost. But if you watch my Brian Tessier's video on how to get your offer accepted, which will be coming up if I haven't already released it, you would have gotten the house, right? Maybe you fire, and you miss 2 or 3 more times, right? Maybe it's the 4th or 5th attempt of trying to buy a house that you finally get it, right? Get it on a contract. Depends on the stability of that contract. So what I mean by that is if it's a newer house, chances are probably pretty good inspections will be clean or clean enough to the point where if something comes up, you're still gonna move forward if the seller decides not to fix anything, right? I mean, barring extreme water in the basement, the house literally falling over, not to devalue home inspectors, but there's really not too terribly much with a visual inspection, right? The sewer line pipes are probably a sewer line camera test if it's an older Pittsburgh home. Newer construction from probably the 90s up has that already handled. You shouldn't have a problem, but some of the older homes in Pittsburgh might fail sewer line camera test, which could be $7,000, etc. That might be something. And even then you can write in your offer, hey, I'll cover anything under $5,000, right? Under $2,000, under $3,000. The amount depends on the sale price of the house. So you can put an offer in with that in there as well. And then again, some buyers will be like, we got an offer in and accepted, let's list our home, right? I've had some buyers where like got an offer in and accepted, but I really need, this house is a little sketchy. It's a flip, right? And I had a bad experience with a flip in a previous state or a previous home I lived in. Right behind the walls were all kind of problems. So I want to get through the inspection process, right? Through the inspection process, now I list my home. So there's a bunch of different options there. I would consult with your real estate agent on putting an offer in while still owning a home. Listen, I've been in the business 16 years. I've seen and done just about everything. And I'm not saying I created all these tips and tricks. I learned from coaching and conventions and RE/MAX agents across the country and across the world. Another thing I would do, I've done in the COVID market was I listed their home, right? And they couldn't move out for 2 months, right? Because they have a house, we got an offer and accepted, and those sellers in the same situation, they had to find a home, right? So they can't move out for 90 days. So I would list my client's home and I wouldn't put anything in the verbiage. A lot of times people get really stuck in over disclosing. What I mean by that is as is. Man, you don't ever want to put as is. I'm going to do a video on that. Limitations. You don't really want to you're not obligated to disclose limitations out of the gate. As is, you can't take possession for 90 days, stuff like that. Disclosure of lead-based paint and all that, different story. But I would put the home on the market, market it like a normal home. But I know they couldn't close for 120 days, 90 days, 60 days, whatever. I would wait till we got some offers in and accepted. I always try to get my sellers to list it just below market value, right? Because what happens is you get multiple offers. And it's really tough to get sellers to understand this. When you have multiple offers, you have power. You are in control of the transaction. And if you need something, you need to have power, right? You can't be powerless. So if you have multiple offers and now you don't want to close for 120 days, guess what? You have the power to make that happen. So I would list the house, get in a bunch of offers, look at their closing dates. Out of, let's just say I had 5 offers, 2 might rise to the top. The one that had no closing date in there, no closing date, they didn't put one in, which means seller's choice, right? Or you can write in seller's choice, whatever. And I do this when I write offers in a multiple offer situation for my buyers. I leave it blank. Sometimes the listing agent will call me and be like, you don't have a closing date. It's because I want you to pick it. I'm trying to make it easy on you. I look at the multiple offer situation of my client's listing, and maybe it's higher, maybe it's not than the other one, but it has a blank closing date. I'll go to the other offer and say, hey, can you be flexible on the closing date? Well, when you need to close, 120 days. Maybe we can close earlier down the line. We don't know. We're trying to buy another house, whatever. And if they say no, then I go to the one that has the open closing date. And if their price is a little bit lower, I'll try than the other one that has a closing date we can't work with. I'll try to get them up to that price. I can do that because our side of the transaction is in a position of power because we list a little bit below market value. So I just ran through a whole bunch of different scenarios. I'm kind of on topic, kind of off topic on can you put an offer in? Should you put an offer in on a home before you sell yours? And I'm going to do one more. This is a bonus. You're going to love it. I'm going through this right now. I just actually got everything fully executed. That's why I didn't really want to post this video until then. So I am the listing agent. I put a house on the market. Man, we had to do a couple of price reductions because the interest rates were going up and the market's shifting, right? We finally accepted an offer. I think it was 10 grand below ask, right? I mean, literally the minute I got the contract back fully executed, another buyer's agent said, hey, we want this house at full price. I think their buyer even called me from the sign. I said, oh my God. I said, we just signed an offer. I mean, we can't not move forward with this offer because it's fully executed and delivered. I said, the only way we can get out of it is the inspection contingency, right? If the buyer asks my seller to do even one thing, I can go back and say, we're not doing anything. And my seller already told me this kind of ties all the way back in with a nice little bow. The house comes as is. And I said, I'm not going to post comes as is. That scares people away. So I got the offer as a backup, right? 2 weeks went by for the inspection process. That buyer moved on, put an offer in on something else. I guess it wasn't going too good over there. So when we got the buyer's reply to inspection, BRI addendum, it had a list of shit. $7,000 for electric, this and that, and blah, 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 blah. My seller's like, absolutely not. Once I got that, I went to the buyer's number 2 agent and said, hey, we got the inspection. Here it is. Take a look at the inspection. I didn't send them the BRI because that's really irrelevant. What one buyer wanted doesn't mean the other buyer wanted. So I disclosed the inspection, everything there. And I said, where are you? Like, we got an offer in on it, accepted on something else. I was like, oh, okay. Well, a day went by and she said, well, listen, we want to still move forward with you, but we want the seller to bring the price down to what the first buyer's was. We aren't going to ask them to do anything as a result of the inspection. I said, listen, it's not that much of a price difference. I'm not going to go through this whole rigmarole of terminating and getting this re-signed and starting the clock all over with the due dates just for that. So I was able to get the buyer set number 2 to give us full price, which I think is $10,000 more than the previous one, and accept the house as is. So buyer number 1, we would have been $10,000 less minus $7,000 and plus more. Full of crap they wanted fixed. I mean, it was a $20,000 swing. So it's kind of ties in with having your offer in without selling your home or whatever. So I don't know if the buyers end up terminating, moving forward with us. We are locked in and we're even closing earlier. So my seller got one heck of a deal on that. Anyway, if you have any questions about should you put an offer in or could you put an offer in on a home while you still own a home, whether it's on the market, not on the market, whatever, feel free to contact me, reply to this email, DM me, whatever. Brian Tessier, Quick Hacks.